So 200 mile an hour this summer then?
Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I've had to bite the bullet and decide to get the paintwork done on this car because not only is the bonnet now look like something out of the Dukes of Hazzard, it's completely matte black, the lacquer is just falling off in large areas like this. And on the roof it's particularly bad. It's like some horrible infectious rash. So we're off to the paint shop, which is why the front grille is missing, why these windscreen trims are off, and why the boot's open is because I've found some nasties. Cars are susceptible to this panel here going rusty for the simple reason that the rake of the rear screen is such that water gets stuck, it sits here, and then it slowly seeps through over the years and rots out this panel. Now, luckily, I bought this panel about 10 years ago, just on a whim really. I obviously had too much money at the time. It cost me 150 quid and it's a genuine Merc repair panel. But I'm very glad I did because they're now unavailable apart from reproduction parts, which are 450 quid each. And no doubt not as good as the Merc one. As you can see, it's quite bad here. We're off to see my mate Ollie, who runs a classic car specialist in the town in which I live, in Oundle, Northamptonshire, so let's see what he thinks. But before I take it, I've got to get the rear seats, the C panel trims and the parcel shelf all out of the car so that he can get to this panel here. So with the parcel shelf out, we can see that is that panel that's the problem. And if you look along here, specifically there's an hole. So that's why the boot is filling up with water. So that panel's got to be replaced, which means the rear screen is now going to come out, which I'm really looking forward to. This is the cavalry in the form of the aforementioned Ollie Wimbolt.
Oh, the aforementioned, is that?
Yeah, you've already been mentioned as the proprietor of the Splined Hub in Oundle, Northants, who's absolutely confident that he can get this rear screen out without breaking it. Oh, it's moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reassembly is the reverse of assembly.
Yeah.
So you have to get your feet and suck the glass in with them.
Yeah, I'll have to get those octopus attachments grafted on.
Yeah, that corner's going to need a little bit of work, isn't it?
It's not as bad as I thought it might be, though.
No, particularly along here. I thought that was going to be a lot worse.
Ollie, paintwork.
Yeah.
We had a bit of a snag yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
I found a slight blemish in the bodywork.
Yep.
Which is why there's now no rear screen, as we saw earlier. And we've got this panel here, which has to go. Well, it sort of goes there, really, doesn't it?
Yep.
So once that's in, what's the plan with the paint? How do you go about? I mean, do you have to take it all off? Do you just take the lacquer off? What do you need to do?
In the case of this car, the bonnet's a different colour at the moment. The lacquer's peeling off the roof, but it's really just the vertical, the horizontal surfaces that need attention with a few little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
We'll take off as much as we need to establish a good substrate, and once we've done that, it'll get an epoxy coat, then a prime, then a block back, then a prime, then a paint. So this is the new panel, which obviously fits in here. Interestingly, the top surface of this original part is quite good locally here, whereas the bit underneath isn't.
This looks creative.
The ones in the corners, and then we'll rust treat it, what's there rust-wise, and epoxy it.
Got the car back now, back in my garage because plans have changed. It seemed a bit daft to be doing all this work and not doing a full respray, so I'm going to talk to my bank manager. But before I talk to him, I'm going to go talk to Charlie Broomfield because he's just rung me and said he's made some progress fitting his new supercharger.
Yeah, progress so far.
Progress so far, so this is the gearbox.
This is the gearbox for the Supercharger. So this is going to sit there, and we have a clamp which was made out of a piece of solid.
Alley.
Yeah.
And this is all what you've been making to,
Yeah,
to fit
yeah,
it onto the car.
yeah. So that would go there, and then we would have this housing, which is a bearing housing, that will go in between these two plates. So the other plate will be a mirror image to that, under there, that way. And then we'd have that gear. This shaft's being driven from the engine.
Right.
The shaft that's coming under the radiator. And hopefully they're working on the bits for the universal joints as we speak.
Shaft that's coming from the engine, is it being driven at 3 times engine?
This shaft is 3 times engine speed. Right. And luckily now, because we're 2.7 in there, we only need just under 1 to 1 here. So we've got a 28 there, and that's a 30, which is nice.
32, 30, 28.
Yeah, that makes things a lot nicer.
This is the back of the
This is the back plate of the compressor, yeah, which bolts onto there. And then the effluent in the room. Is this, which goes well, it sits on there anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, not exactly which way it.
So what's the ratio in that gearbox again?
That's 2.7. Yeah. I can't remember how we arrived at that, but we did.
And that will spin the compressor at.
You'll end up with 28,000 here now, 3,000 engine up, yeah.
Right.
Because we ran it up before and I got it going about 35, and because the brake was playing up a bit,
On the
you
dial.
couldn't open the throttle enough, and it was overwhelming the pop-off valve, and it actually blew one of these up, even with those clamps.
Wow.
So it's definitely making some air.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, it's a good sign.
So how does this attach? Just what?
Well, you see, the reason we've left bits is because there's probably going to have to be some box section or something, a couple of bits of inch by inch out of each end.
Yeah.
And then some plates welded to what's left of the Rover chassis.
Oh, so this will be mounted to the chassis, not the
Yeah,
engine.
so this will bolt up underneath, yeah.
So you're going to have some kind of U-J.
Yeah, and then this shaft, where it just pokes out under the radiator, which gives you 9.5 inches. You've got to get 2 UJs and a bit that will give a little bit of slide. Because obviously the engine's going to move a bit.
Yeah.
And then obviously on the back here, is going on that housing, there'll be a clamp there. And then the idea is you'll tighten the clamps off and have an adjuster, so you can swing this a bit to get your belt adjustment.
Right.
That's the theory anyway.
Well,
Yes, that's where we are there. And unfortunately, there's the drive shaft. Obviously that's solid at the minute, which is great for alignment. And then the flexible bit with the UJs will have to be between there and there.
Right.
So, yeah, bit short of space.
What's that water pump on there? Is that a...
That's the proper Meteor water
is,
pump.
is it? Right.
But I've slowed it down because it's just insane. I mean, it pumps about 140 gallons a minute at 30 psi, and it's driven at 1.7 times engine speed. So I've changed the ratio on my drive belt. So
I suppose when it was sat in a tank, it might have...
yeah, they probably wanted quite a bit of water, and I think the rad's laid flat.
Right.
So no natural aid to the circulation.
So when do you think you might have this blower mounted then, Charlie?
Well, like I said, finished that boring that bearing housing out this morning. Yeah, and I'll chase Nick towards the end of the week. Hopefully,
For the shaft?
the shaft will be coming along,
Right.
and then it's coming together a bit then. But and then of course the other thing is this part of the water pump here is going to be in the way of the UJ. I think it might be, but I've took it off. I mean, I'll have to chop that off and put a 1D elbow on it or something.
Right.
Get around it. I think these would manage with just one inlet, to be honest, but they have two inlets, so that's how I've kept it. The trouble is, if you change too many things at once
Yeah.
and you get a problem,
You don't know where
what
it's
is
come
it?
from.
What did you do?
Yeah.
It's like when you machine something, get it as bloody good as you can, because if it fails, well, should I have been more careful?
So, 200 mile now this summer then?
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah.